am proud.
I am proud.
I am proud that Los Angeles Unified School District leads the way.
Protecting the right to read.
To stand up for the rights of our students.
Teaching inclusive history.
To protect athlete rights to participate in sports according to their identity.
Ensuring that our schools are affirming
LGBTQ+ students,
staff,
and family.
Elevating the dignity of LGBTQ+
students, staff, and families.
We see you, we stand with you, and we celebrate you.
Because every student deserves a safe learning environment.
Thank you, LAUSD, for being part of the change.
Happy Pride Month, Los Angeles Unified.
Happy Pride Month, LA Unified.
Happy Pride Month, Los Angeles 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 Unified.
I'm so proud to be a part of a district where this June Pride Month is something we celebrate every year.
Happy Pride Month, Los Angeles Unified.
Okay. LAUSD, there we got the PSA from LAUSD. Good morning, everyone. Today's Thursday, June 6th, and what you just saw was a PSA from Los Angeles Unified School District, not too far away from where we are here at PragerU Kids. I'm Jill Simonian from PragerU Kids. Most of you know me, and I'm excited to be live with you today. We're going to talk about that video in a little bit. There are some statements in that video that were made that I happen to agree with as a mom and as a co-creator of PragerU Kids. I do believe that all children deserve to have a safe and inclusive learning environment. And we'll talk about what that means, what the word inclusive means. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, before we go any further, today's headline, we are going to share what I'm calling skewed mandated teacher trainings in 2 local school districts here in California that I am unabashedly classifying as victim training for teachers. So I'm going to take you through 2 mandated trainings later. We're going to talk about that LA Unified School District PSA. But first, I am not going to go further in this live without mentioning that today, of course, is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Teach the kids. Tell me where you live. Tell me where you're from in the comments. If you're joining us live on Facebook and YouTube, tell me where you're from. Tell me if you are, in fact, taking a moment, even if it's just, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, to mention to your kids that today is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. 4,414 Allied troops who gave their lives on the beach at Normandy because they believed that freedom was worth it, and freedom is still worth it. And that's something that we are trying to just drive home and teach our children about at PragerU Kids. If you have not subscribed yet for free, PragerUkids.com. We've got wholesome, age-appropriate content focusing on history and our American values and freedom and liberty and equality under God and all of these things that are educational and fun and beyond necessary, I'll say, for the next generation to learn. Because if they don't learn it, and this includes historical events like D-Day, if they do not learn these things, we will not have a country left. So join us at PragerUkids.com for free. We are also now, yay! Can I get an applause? There's no one here in the studio with me, but I want an applause for our recent announcement that we are now in Louisiana schools. Yes, it is the 7th state that we have forged a supplemental, non-mandatory, despite, all the crazy things you might read on the internet, we have forged our 7th partnership with Louisiana State Schools, non-mandatory supplemental curriculum that teachers may use if they want. Other states include, to date, Oklahoma, Montana, New Hampshire, Texas, Florida, Arizona. If you want PragerU Kids to be considered as supplemental resources in your schools, in your state, sign our petition at PragerU.com. Okay, so today, like I said, I'm exposing and sharing skewed mandated teacher trainings from Glendale Unified School District and Santa Ana School District right here in Southern California. Teachers who are currently employed by these districts recently sent me documented trainings that they were obligated to attend. These are trainings that they were mandated, or one might say forced, we could say the word forced, to attend, that they could not opt out of. It doesn't matter if the trainings clashed with any of their religious beliefs, any of their American, harbored beliefs or values that they have as Americans. It didn't matter. I'll share what our California taxes are paying for. And if you're a teacher and you have gone through a mandated training, drop a comment in Facebook or YouTube Live, and I'm going to get to the comments soon. But first, yes, June is Pride Month, and it is Pride Month Palooza on social media. Listen, schools are still in session. Some school districts are still in session. And I want to again share what LAUSD posted recently on their social media accounts. We kicked it off at the very top, but for those of you who maybe are just joining, take a look right now at this video that LAUSD dropped on their social channels. I believe it was late last week at the beginning of Pride Month, June. Let's take a look and take a listen.
I am proud.
I am proud.
I am proud that Los Angeles Unified School District leads the way.
Protecting the right to read.
To stand up for the rights of our students.
Teaching inclusive history.
To protect athlete rights to participate in sports according to their identity.
Ensuring that our schools are affirming
LGBTQ plus students,
staff,
and family. Elevating the dignity of LGBTQ plus
students, staff, and families.
We see you, we stand with you, and we celebrate you.
Because every student deserves a safe learning environment.
Thank you, LAUSD, for being part of the change.
Happy Pride Month, Los Angeles Unified.
Happy Pride Month, LA Unified.
Happy Pride Month, Los Angeles 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 Unified.
I'm so proud to be a part of a district where this June Pride Month is something we celebrate every year.
Happy Pride Month, Los Angeles Unified.
Okay, so there we go. For those of you who saw it the first time or the second time, LAUSD putting out that video in honor of Pride Month. We have the superintendent of LAUSD schools, Alberto Cavallo. We have school board members. We have educators, teachers, I'm guessing, in that video. You can look at it as much as you want. I want to be very clear about something right now, right here, as I always am. Totally transparent when it comes to this issue. Everyone deserves the right to live their lives freely, as they wish, as they see fit. I am the first person to say we live in a free country, and you can absolutely live your life as you see fit. We are in the United States of America. Our United States flag is the most inclusive flag there is. And my questions for this video are not anti-gay. I've been accused of all these things. No, I am not anti-gay. Newsflash, my children take dance lessons, theater lessons from people who are in the gay community, and we adore them because they have never, ever, ever, ever broached that line of appropriateness and talked about adult topics with the children that they are teaching. Okay, so this has nothing to do with, oh, you're anti this. No, I'm not anti this. What I am a proponent of is age appropriate content and discussions between educators, adults, and kids. Age appropriateness. So my questions regarding this video entail: why is it a teacher or administrator's business who teens may or may not be attracted to? Why is it appropriate for educators to broach this topic and discuss adult topics that are in fact based on sexual activity and attraction and adult complexities with kids? Some of these kids, all of these kids are minors below the age of 18. Some of these kids are very young as first grade. I have seen directives from LAUSD saying that beginning with first grade, these types of topics can be introduced on taxpayer-funded property, on taxpayers' dimes. These are not anti-gay questions. These are reasonable questions that I ask as a parent who really does appreciate friends and teachers in my life, in my family's life, who happen to be gay. How much did it cost to make this PSA? How was it taxpayer-funded money that LAUSD used? Would a PSA like this be made for other causes or other holidays? Are PSAs like this being made for Christmas, for Easter, to include families who may have Christian religious beliefs, or are videos made like this to include families, during the time of Hanukkah or Yom Kippur? These are just questions. And, it's interesting because every single June, this topic comes up. And something that I just can't help but remember is I think it was last year, no, 2023. It was 2023. Dennis Prager made a fireside chat about Pride Month. And his question was genuinely, why do we do this? Why do we do this? And it's worth a watch. And I request and really urge you to not judge the title or the question of the fireside chat before you actually watch the entire content of what Dennis talks about. It's on PragerU.com. It's for free. I encourage you to watch it. So now let's get to the victim training. Maybe I should see where you guys are all coming from. I'll go to the comments right now if we have comments of where you're coming from. Oops, I got to turn the sound off of my own. This is what happens on the live. Sometimes the sound goes up, and let's see. You coming from, whoops. There we go. Where are you coming from? Let's see. Oh, someone says, I'm glad I left California. Godspeed to you. I want to see where you guys are from. If you can leave comments, tell me where you're from. Someone says, oh no, it's not loading. Okay, I'm going to wait for that to load. Tell me where you're from. But in the meantime, let's get to the victim training, what I'm calling victim training for schools. Victim training in schools by way of mandated teacher trainings. Okay, I'm going to start now with Santa Ana Unified. And if you're watching live, we're going to pull this up on the screen. There we go. We got the slides. Yes, we got the slides. Okay, so Santa Ana Unified here in SoCal. Washington Elementary in Santa Ana, California. This is a K through 5th grade school. This training happened in January 2024, so fairly recently, just a few months ago. A teacher sent this to me. This was presented during a mandatory staff meeting, allegedly. The copy of the entire presentation was obtained through a public records request. This was a training, what you're looking at, for teachers for LGBT plus students. And like I said, a teacher from the district sent this to me. And if we are on the document right now, let's go ahead and go to page 4 of the document. And oh, look, let me see if I can pull it up on my own computer, because guess what, gang? My vision is not so great. And I got a screen right there to look at it, but my vision is not so good. So here we go. Page 4. State and federal law requires school districts to provide equal access to educational opportunities and learning environments that are safe and supportive for all. Absolutely agree. Supportive for all students, including lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex students. California law outlines the ways in which LGBTQ+I students are to be respected. There's a lot more letters in there than I remember. Are to be respected at school, and the laws may be found on the California Department of Education website. Absolutely. I am not opposed to making sure that all students feel safe. And in California in particular, and in this district, Santa Ana Unified, there was in fact a video that I did, it might have even been 2 years ago now, of a Christian student at a school board meeting speaking genuinely. She was in high school, and she was speaking about how she constantly felt attacked and threatened because of her religious beliefs. So it's interesting to me when I see mandated trainings like this carved out for certain communities, I can't help but wonder, from an objective point of view, just taking a step back out of it, if there are trainings, mandated teacher trainings like this, conducted to help teachers navigate and secure the safety of kids who may have religious beliefs, but that's beside the point. Let's go to page 5 now. I'm taking you through this mandated training because I just want to share what taxpayer-funded programs are paying for. I'm guessing it's taxpayer-funded. Page 5, names and pronouns. Let's go to this slide that says names and pronouns and bullying. LAUSD students have the right to be addressed by the names and gender pronouns of their choice and our gender identity, regardless of whether these names or pronouns are used in their homes or on official records. Refusing to respect a student's gender identity by referring to the student by the incorrect name or pronouns could be considered bullying, discrimination, and or harassment. My question with this: if a teacher does not believe that one can transfer between binary sexes because of their religious belief, does this training then dictate that those teachers should be bullied into doing something that they do not inherently believe in? Because I thought we lived in the United States of America where all religious beliefs and all lifestyles are in fact respected. So again, this slide, particularly page 5, is essentially bullying teachers into doing things that they might not necessarily have religious convictions about. So that's another question. Let's go down, again, taking you through this training that is a mandated training for schools. Let's go to slide 6, facilities. Oh, here's the facilities. So we got something about the dress code here. Then we got something about the facilities. LAUSD students have the right to use the facilities, restroom, locker room, consistent with their gender identity. Transgender and gender nonconforming students shall not be forced to use the restroom corresponding to their sex assigned at birth. Let's also look at transgender and gender nonconforming students may choose to use the health office restroom to change. Okay. All right. So you're forcing kids to use facilities that may or may not have someone of the opposite sex use. This is a mandated teacher training that teachers in Washington Elementary and Santa Unified School District could not opt out of receiving. I want to go now to page 9. Let's see, am I on the right slide here? Oh no, page 7, sorry, slide 7. Here's the one that I wanted to share with you. Privacy, extracurricular activities, clubs, and sports. And one of the bullet points here says, during overnight field trips, SAUSD students are allowed access to sleeping quarters that align with their gender identity. Transgender and gender nonconforming students cannot be forced to use sleeping quarters corresponding to their assigned sex at birth. I am merely bringing you this information. You can leave comments as you see fit. Let's go to page 11 now on these slides. Let's go to page 11. I'm going to scroll down on my computer so that I can, in fact, read along with it. Here we go. Page 11. In all grades. And in elementary grades, second grade, let's take a look at this. In elementary grades, in second grade, students learn about families, who comprises a family, how families are different today than in the past, and what primary sources are related to family history, such as photos, family trees, keepsakes, and histories. Students study the history of their own family, their friends' families, from families depicted in books. Students study the stories of diverse families, such as immigrant families, blended families, multi-generational families, adoptive or foster care families, families with lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender members, or families with members having a disability. Okay. So teachers cannot assume any particular family structure when discussing family in class. The objective for staff is to be sensitive to family diversity and privacy while including all students in the curriculum. That's for second grade. In fourth grade, students learn about California history from pre-colonial times to present day. Students learn about diverse figures important in California history. Okay, part of the framework. So my question is, in the second grade, if you are reading a book about a story entailing a child with two moms or two dads, Is it then, and these are just questions I'm asking to Santa Ana Unified specifically, is it then a problem if you have a family with religious beliefs that has not yet broached the topic with their second grade child? So in other words, Santa Ana Unified District, what do you do if you have a family who does not believe that a second grader is mature enough to learn about same-sex marriages, and they have not broached it with their child yet, but you're going to read the book anyway and completely disrespect the parents? This is where we're at. This is not news. This is not anything new. This is not anything that is surprising to anyone, but it's just, you got to ask these questions. If you're a teacher who believes in the science of gender binary, then your hands are tied. That is what this training is communicating to the teachers that work in Santa Ana Unified, particularly at Washington Elementary, which is a school for grades kindergarten through 5th grade. Page 15. I want to go through this training more, because on page 15, I marked it as something worth. Oh, here's the scenarios. Here's the scenarios. It gives teachers, in this training, it gives teachers various scenarios that they can use to navigate real life situations in their classroom. So on page 15 of this mandatory teacher training slide, it says for teachers, it directs them, when in doubt, talk to the student. What about talk to the parent? Students are minors. Students are children. I don't care if you're a 17-year-old student, they're still a minor. And there used to be a time when, in social society, social norm society, there used to be a time when certain topics, particularly of adult nature, concerning adult topics, if you were grown up and talked to a child about that without the parent's consent, you were considered an unsafe adult. That logic, I guess, has completely disappeared. And it's clearly outlined that all of the common sense things that we used to believe that were age appropriate between adults and children, particularly educators and students on taxpayer funded schools, campuses, all of those things have now just flown out the window, because here we have, again, a teacher from Santa Ana Unified sent me this training. This teacher shall remain nameless. But this teacher reportedly asked the questions. That's enough of the slides. I'm not going to show you more of the slides. These slides were obtained through public records requests. But here's the account that the teacher sent me. He or she wrote me, I was present during this presentation and raised my hand over 5 times, objecting to the presentation and telling the presenter that they are asking teachers to violate their conscience by compelling them to use preferred pronouns or hide information from parents. The teacher continued, reporting to me, the presenter of this mandated teacher training that teachers could not opt out of, the presenter claimed it was a law in California. I responded and stated that whatever law she may be referring to, it does not dismiss parental rights to be informed, which is supported by our Constitution. The teacher goes on to tell me, to share with you. My questions were then shut down by the principal at my school site, and I was told to hold any further questions so that the presenter could continue. District representatives and the president of our local teachers union was present during the presentation. We were told that we were the first school to receive the mandatory training and that the plan was to present the training to other schools throughout the district. Again, this is Washington Elementary, K through 5 in Santa Ana Unified here in California. The teacher went on to say, I asked them to provide links to the information presented along with any related board policy in Spanish because a significant percentage of the families LAUSD serves speak Spanish and they don't speak English. And the administration allegedly told this teacher that they offer translation only by explicit request. And the teacher responded to them saying that they could consider her request in that real-time moment during the mandated training of the slides we just went through as an official request. And the translated information has yet to be provided. So what do we think about all this? What would you do? What would you do as a parent? Have you been reported? Have any reports of mandated teacher trainings at your school locally, whether you're in California or not? Have things like this been brought to your attention as a parent? What would you do? Are you a teacher? Have you been through a situation like this? It's hard to raise your hand in real time amongst your peers for fear of being judged. It's hard to do that. And I thank the teacher that sent me that training from Santa Ana Unified. If you have any personal experiences as a teacher or as a parent that you would like for me to bring to light and share with our PragerU Kids subscriber audience, please email me, tips@prageru.com. And I can't help but think that these trainings seem to condition the teachers to see kids as victims. Think about that. You're training teachers, whether it's about LGBT topics or not, you're training teachers to see students as victims, to help students see themselves as victims. And speaking of victims, the next thing I want to share is straight from Glendale Unified School District here in Southern California. Again, this was an all-staff mandatory meeting, handouts for Glendale Unified employees. A current Glendale Unified teacher sent this next handout to me. And this was from if we can bring it on up right there, there it is. This is from March 25th, 2024. This was a meeting for teachers, March 25th, 2024. This was a mandatory meeting. And the first slide we see there, facing history and ourselves. There we go. I'm going to pull it up on my screen now. Just give me a moment so that I can follow along. There we go. Facing history and ourselves. Glendale Unified School District. Page 1. Check out that QR code. Now, I happened to scan this QR code because I was curious where it went to, and it did in fact go to an outside agency called facinghistory.org. How much, I ask, as a parent, how much did it cost Glendale Unified School District to bring in this mandatory training from this organization, facinghistory.org, because these things are not free. All of these things cost money. And I'm guessing, I don't know for a fact, but I am guessing based on my own common sense experience with how school districts administer trainings, I'm guessing that Glendale Unified maybe, probably, perhaps, it's a chance that they paid for this training. This training is not about academics. It is not about how to uplift students, how to increase reading proficiency, how to increase math proficiency, which are, in fact, pretty much failing across the board, especially here in California, by the way. This training is not about special education needs. It's not about school safety. It is about teaching for equity and justice, just as it says on that page. And as we all know, equity does not mean equality. The concept of equity, as cited by current and past teachers who I've personally spoken with and who you may have spoken with too, equity seeks to lower the standards across the board so that everyone feels as though they're doing the same and brought down a level. It doesn't raise the standards. Equity is the opposite of meritocracy, which we are going to get in right now. Let's bring up the next slide. So halfway, this was a whole packet that this teacher sent to me. And halfway through this packet, here we have the slide that says, dun, 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 unpacking the myth of meritocracy. Coercing teachers to see students as victims. That is what I have alternatively named this, if you will. And I want to just break down to one of the highlighted parts here. Let's go to the last part, the last paragraph. If you just work hard enough, you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's just a matter of motivation, of talent, and grit. Yet, These beliefs can be a liability for disadvantaged adolescents once their identity as a member of a marginalized group begins to gel, and once they become keenly aware of how institutional discrimination disadvantages them and their group. So right here, spelled out from facinghistory.org, to me, is the evidence that if you teach children that they are victims, they will soon abandon the belief that there is value in merit, that meritocracy is in fact a real thing. If meritocracy isn't real, how do you explain people who have succeeded, who have pulled themselves up by their bootstraps? How do you explain that? Because it does happen, and it has happened, and we have, thousands upon thousands of instances in history where we have seen people in your own lives, in my own life, people pulling themselves up from their bootstraps. So Glendale Unified School District, teaching teachers mandatory training that the teachers cannot opt out of. Glendale Unified School District offering a training in March 2024 to instruct teachers how to treat students like victims and that meritocracy is a myth. Again, if you're a teacher and you want to share trainings that you were not allowed to opt out of, or that completely conflict with your religious beliefs or completely conflict with common sense American values, or that you were perhaps bullied and or forced and or harassed and or compelled to speak about in a certain way that goes against your beliefs, email me. Email me what you have gone through at tips@prageru.com. So let's see if we have any comments here. That's the end of my show and tell. I want to see what you all think about some of these things that I shared. All right, some of these comments can be brutal. Let's see who's watching today. I'm only on Facebook. Oh, you're from Texas. Great. Okay. Murrieta, California. Temecula School District just recalled their conservative superintendent. So sad. Hearing these words of affirmation from adults in leadership roles gives these kids the validity that they need. It can be a lonely experience being LGBTQ+, and knowing that there is someone by your side who supports you makes it a little easier to get through the day, through the hard times. Okay, this comment was for Brian. Brian, I don't disagree with you. As I said at the very beginning of this, everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect at school, in the workplace. Absolutely, 100% agree. However, in the United States of America, everyone is included by default, and everyone can be respected if our schools functioned on the basic morality concept of the golden rule. Treat others with respect. Treat others as you want to be treated. I do not, as a mom, again, with people in the gay community who are in my family's life, who we adore and respect and appreciate. I don't understand why it is necessary for school districts, specifically educators, adult educators, to constantly try and remind students, high school students, who might be finding themselves and identifying as the gay community. I don't understand why those educators must constantly try to convince those students that they are victims. They are not. No one is a victim. And the victim mentality, again, whether it's being directed from educators to the gay community, or to, teachers trying to, convince students that they are victims because of the color of their skin. There should be zero victim mentality in schools. And on top of that, there should be zero victim mentality trainings that teachers are obligated to go through at schools. I don't understand how that uplifts education. I don't understand how that uplifts the academic standards, or how it would motivate students to do well, to learn. I don't understand. Here's another question. I'm just reading these. When do the students whose gender identity matches their birth gender matter? I completely understand that we need to love others, but there's also a safety and comfort component for the other children. I agree. Somebody said get some mental health treatment. I don't know if that's directed at me or not. Let's see. California needs to be pushed into the Pacific Ocean. It is rotting by the day. It is rotting by the day. It is rotting by the day. People should get out of the way so the push can begin. Oh, that was responding to pushed into the ocean. Okay. All right. Here we go. So thank you for your comments. Again, if you are a teacher who has experienced mandated trainings in schools that completely abandon the liberties and rights granted to us by our U.S. Constitution, by our foundation of religious freedom, by our foundation of freedom of speech, please send me an email at tips@prageru.com. If you just jumped on here, you can go back and watch this video, as I believe it will continue to live on our Facebook and YouTube pages. I broke down a few mandated teacher trainings, which I playfully but not so playfully renamed teacher victim trainings. And they were specifically from Santa Ana Unified and Glendale Unified here in Southern California. You can take a look. You can ask questions for yourself. You can also always, in your own school districts, in your own states, request public information requests. Through the Freedom of Information Act, we call these FOIA requests, and we have resources to help guide you how to do it. It's actually not too complicated. We have resources on PragerU.com/resources. That is our parent resource page that we started for, PragerU Kids. We always thank you from the bottom of my hearts at PragerUkids.com. As you know, we can pull up our website now of PragerUkids.com. It is free. It is free to describe. It is free to subscribe. It is free to watch. It is free to read. We have PragerUkids.com on our website. We have 11 different series now that teach children about the foundation of the United States, our history, civics, financial literacy, cash course. Our latest show is, in fact, The Hustle, which is so much fun. I have nothing to do with that particular show, but it's so much fun, and it's sort of like a Shark Tank for kids. Children entrepreneurs, and it really is just really fun to watch. We have our Around the World series. We have, of course, Otto's Tales. That is a storytime show for our youngest learners, just really celebrating the American values and freedom. Parents and teachers, we thank you always for your support. And we also thank you to the 7 states we are now officially partnered with to encourage and allow our PragerU Kids materials inside of classrooms if and when those teachers see fit. Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, Montana, New Hampshire, Florida, Arizona, we thank you. 7 states total, many more coming. And if you have not subscribed to PragerUkids.com yet, do it now. It's free. We thank you, teachers and parents, and especially today, June 6th, on D-Day. We thank all of those incredibly brave World War II veterans that there are probably just, there's not too many of them left, but we thank you because you knew that freedom was worth it. And we honor you always at PragerU Kids. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.